The speakers for today's program, Dr. Vikram Hulla, Dr. Yamini from the Speech Pathology Department, and Dr. Selva from the Physiotherapy. We also have a lot of representation from the HD families who are all here. A very, very warm welcome to all of you. And other faculty, Dr. Yasha is here to also provide her support. So a very warm welcome to all the other staff and the students of the different research units here at NIMHANS. For many years, HD has been kept a secret in families, and people had been very reluctant to come out and say that there is Huntington's disease in the family. Slowly that has been changing, and all over the world the month of May has been dedicated to has been nominated as a Huntington's disease month. And LightItUp4HD was a program that Canada has come up with, and as a result of that, many buildings all over the world have been lit up to provide support for the HD families. So it is blue and purple are the two colors that have been chosen. And there was a very good response in India, in the Mumbai center, and we saw many of the buildings, the iconic buildings of Mumbai being lit up. So the whole idea is that if more people are aware of this disorder, there will be more support for families, and doctors and professionals will be more aware, and hopefully life will be easier for HD families and patients in terms of treatments or other kinds of assistance that these patients often need in the course of their disorder. So we at NIMHANS thought that it is a good time for us to have a small program so that we also provide our support to these HD families. So we are having a few talks here, and after that we plan to light up the Neurobiology Research Center building, where we have research labs for the various different kinds of neurological and neuropsychiatric disorders that we see at NIMHANS. So as far as my own experiences, I just wanted to share this, that over 20 years ago, when we started the molecular genetics lab, I used to see Huntington's disease patients coming to seek clinical help. And in those days, it was just a few patients who had realized that this was a neurological illness, and or they had been referred from some other hospital. But over the years, we are seeing more and more patients who are coming to NIMHANS. And ever since our GCAT clinic has been established, we have given about 300 positive HD reports. This basically means that there are so many more patients who are affected, because every family usually has more than one affected person. There was also a report from Mumbai which was basically about genetic testing, where they have also reported several hundred HD cases. So this makes it very obvious that there are a lot of patients out there who need help, and so it's very important that we increase awareness in the among the professionals and also the general public, so that the stigma for this disease goes away and it becomes easier for these patients. So some years ago, we had an ICMR project with Dr. Pal's group. That was when we started worrying about movement disorders and the genetics of it. And the experience that we got from that whole project enabled us to get into genetic testing formally. So that has been our journey. And we had many PhD students who have chosen Huntington's disease. So many years ago, there was Dr. Udupa, who was a clinical psychologist who worked on the psychological aspects of HD in their families of HD patients. And more recently, many of you know Dr. Nikhil Ratna and Soumya, who also did their PhD thesis on Huntington's disease. In the neurology department, there have been many DM theses where students have studied many of the symptoms like sleep and sleep variation and other problems that HD patients often face. So this kind of involvement and engagement on the clinical side and on the research side is very important, so that the clinical community and the professionals who actually see these patients become aware of what are the nuances of this disease and how you can help them to make their lives easier. Of course, a complete cure is a great dream that everyone has, but In the meanwhile, at least we can try to help make their journey a little more comfortable. So that is the basic idea of this whole enterprise. So I now also want to call upon, so I also have to mention one thing, that thanks to social media, what happened was that families of HD in India were able to find each other. And that nucleated the HDSI, the Huntington Disease Society India. And we are very fortunate that many of the members of this HDSI are here with us today. So I call upon Mr. Koushik to please come and say a few words as a representative of HDSI, and then we'll have a formal inauguration. And
yeah, good afternoon to everyone. I'm Venkateshwara Koushik. Basically, my wife is affected with HD. In 2011, it happened to me to come to first time to NIMHANS. To that time, it got diagnosed as a HD. So, what I feel is from HDSI, there is a previously also Rama Devi or somebody. They also formed some trust of a group and all. Okay, they could not sustain long time. So many people have been made effort. So we even made a promise in 2019, okay, because there is the help of social media available. Okay, we commit ourselves to bring that together, people, and then take it forward. So fortunately, unfortunately, we got a corona into the picture. We could able to conduct only one international conference in August 2019. So we had a dream that every year or biannual we'll try to do like that, something we thought of to do. Because the international people all really want to join with the hands and give their research, share the research, what is going on. So we could not do that. I think we should take it forward further. We can able to, in India, we don't have any palliative care. For HD or all neuro disorders people, I think we need to take it forward to government. Okay. Another aspect is we have been suffering and spending money. We don't get any insurances from the insurance companies if you say HD. And as well as the problem is a social stigma, what Madam mentioned is, that's also a problem, because people will not believe that, okay, even if you're, and right people also, they're losing the jobs. If they are working, some people, software company, they are all working. So they've been removed it from the company, and their families is getting separated. So many issues are there, the HD concern. I think some other countries they have done some better job. We need to learn some of the things, and whether we can able to adopt, and we can able to try to help them. So we have in great hope. NIMHANS is one organization which is center placed especially for neuro thing. I think we have been expecting that. So HD HD center or a HD palliative care, we should able to initiate from the NIMHANS. I think we need to put forward thing to the government. Even we have been meeting at the 1st June, a state government minister. I think we should able to ask them something to do. That's what we've been trying to say. And I think a lot of people are there in Bangalore, different culture, different region people. So they're all suffering. Okay. So good, at least we could able to take it forward, lightning up event like this in May. I think this need to continue and bring it up the people awareness. And we think a great height we need to move. Hope I covered most of the concern of the HD patients. So we have right now a team of some 12 board members have been registered. I think 12 or 15 only life members have been joined. I think if it is somebody, researchers also, I want to request the doctors also to enroll as a HD member, okay, society member. Okay, because we've been even economically weaker section people we thought will do free of cost. Okay, we've been decided to do that. So we need to enroll so that at least what kind of problem they're facing, we are able to come to know. Okay, like our Paramjit Singh is worked for a old age home. He knows some experiences there. We can able to take some of the guidelines from him. Even Sanjeev sir has been working for last 25 years. He's been working in the area. So like that, a lot of people are there. We can take guidance and then move forward. Hope we'll get one day we'll get some solution. Medicine research is going on. That hope. But one thing I would like to say that how do we can address thing, how do not to spread to next generation? That guidelines we need to do something more important. Okay, one is genetic counseling. If it is somebody want to go for a family expansion, So it should be counseled properly, whether fetus level they can terminate or fetus mutation can be done something, change the thing. So that is all aspects need to be addressed. There is a dedicated HD center is required, I feel. Okay. Because we don't have anywhere, any guidance is not there. Everybody they are trying their own research. I am doing my own research. I have done DBS. Samvit has done some more research. He has done his own research. He has done. Okay, is successful or failure is going. That story also not coming forward again. Okay, so I think somewhere we need to have all address all together. A concern of HD patients and neuro patients should have some center. So I think Sanjeev Jain can take it forward as a director today. He can able to sign some paper also. Okay. Thanks a lot.
I'm standing here in front of you, also conveying the support of the director, Professor Pratima Murthy, who unfortunately cannot be here because she's not well. So I'm the acting director for the day. But we have the support of NIMHANS administrative machinery and the clinical services to take this forward. As Meera has already told you in some detail about this long journey with HD, which started actually with Dr. Uday Muthane. We were almost classmates and joined the institute together in the mid-80s. And we would see a lot of patients with cross-morbidities between Parkinson's and HD and things like that. So we started this work together in the late 80s, once both of us had come back. He had, I think, had gone off to the US to do his postdoc, and I had gone off to England. That when we came back together, we thought we would start combining the two skills of systematic measurement of movement disorders along with genetics. So the interest started, and then other members from the faculty have joined in at various times. But it's been a long journey, and as Meera mentioned, we've got 300 or more families with Huntington disease. And because it's a rare disorder and because you spend so much time, I can almost remember 200 of the cases in my mind. What are the kinds of family issues they came with? What are the symptoms that happened? What happened to them eventually? What are the problems they faced? From all the hundreds of thousands of cases one sees at NIMHANS, I mean, you can imagine NIMHANS registration was, I think, 50,000 when I joined. It is now running at 9 lakh. So in my time at NIMHANS, 7.5 lakh people have gone through NIMHANS or more. So you remember all of these. The 200 people with HD are the ones I remember in great detail, because the illness really makes such a huge impact. You see some persons young, some are middle-aged, their families, how they cope with, and the sheer inability for us to help. Because we try to help at every level, whether it's by reducing movements or by doing chest physiotherapy or helping the depressive symptoms or this or that. And it is getting a more and more complex disorder. Like in most of science, the more you know, the more you don't know. So we can do the diagnosis easily, but with the same diagnosis, illness behaves differently. Some people improve, some people don't improve. Some people live long, some people don't live so long. So what are the other factors? Beyond the diagnosis, what does it matter? What kind of problems do people come with? How many people have psychological symptoms? How many people have motor symptoms? How many people have dementia? And Dr. Holla will tell you some details about all that. So now we have a whole team of colleagues from neurology who look at clinical symptoms under a microscope, from their EEGs to their motor symptoms to various aspects. We have a full team in genetics who's trying to look at the genetic structure of HD in great detail. We also have colleagues from speech and hearing and from rehab and from the social work department who are trying to develop the hospice service, the palliative care service that you were talking about, Mr. Koushik. But these are things which have to be embedded in the community. We have to get more 99% of HD care will occur with families. Only 1% will come to the hospital. But how do we strengthen the hands of the family members has been a big concern. Now, over the years, we've understood that there is a lot of variation in Huntington disease gene, the gene itself within India. You get different patterns of genes. We detect many people who have intermediate repeats below 40. So we can't really say that a family history is absolutely essential for diagnosing HD. Sometimes we get HD patients without a family history. So we really need to understand the disease from many, many levels. And today is the date that we are discussing it here. On 27th, we'll be discussing it with the Genetics Institute at the other end of the city at INSTEM, the Tata Institute for Genetic Studies, where we'll be discussing the details of the genetic and the animal models. But NIMHANS being the clinical end of it, we need to improve our services. Dr. Koushik, your experience is, I mean, we have seen the family from, Dr. Kaushik's wife was a very eminent scientist. So when I started seeing her in 2011, she could talk to you fluently about her work and all her experience in science and technology. And to see this gradual change in a person who was so vivacious, so active, so creative, and I think she was very good at mathematics, if I remember. So she had excellent, very high order skills. And to see that person have this kind of progressive disability and total paralysis of the family, that they can't do anything to help, is very, very demoralizing for the family and for the physician. So it is a matter of great involvement for all of us, and we hope that efforts like this will improve our understanding. Of course, we will improve our scientific understanding, but the social acceptance and social interventions to improve quality of life, we have a long, long, long way to go. So that is, so welcome once again on behalf of the director and from the Department of Psychiatry and Neurology and all my colleagues in both in the clinical services and in the lab. We thank you for coming here and we look forward to the day's proceedings. Thank you very much.